Hey, it's the Sparkle Madness podcast.
Hey, how's it going?
Yay. Are you going to hit the button? There he goes.
Hey, he's got the button.
Yeah. I'm Matt. That's Ben. That's Aaron.
Hey.
And we are joined by Wesley on Skype. Hey, Wesley.
Again with this. Get this out of here.
He's going to just...
Yeah, our screen seems to be frozen
Great.
anyway.
Amazing. It's that 90s internet speed.
90s tech.
But we're going to talk about that. Ben, do you want to give... What are you doing? Oh. Sorry.
Can you?
It's playing on the YouTube. All right.
We're professionals.
We've got an awesome show. We're going to do... we brought Wesley on. We're going to talk about Captain Marvel today, which just came out last weekend.
Yes.
And made $500 million already.
That's incredible.
Seems like a lot. But
Happy
this is in anticipation of it's going to lead right up into Avengers in the next month. So, Aaron, to give us before we get into the movie, you have an embargo, right?
Yes. Since Justice League, no capes. Where's my sound? There it is. Well, I tried. Thanks, computer. Review embargo. There
it goes. So Aaron's not.
Technology.
He's completely no superhero movies whatsoever.
Justice League disappointed me so much that there were going to be no more superhero movies ever.
That was like our first year doing this. It's so long.
I got principles.
And Justice League was the one, which is like the best thing. That's the best one.
Oh boy.
Well, so you have no opinions on Captain Marvel whatsoever. Is that what I'm
I
hearing?
loved the marketing. I thought it was great.
Is there any sort of takeaway from your part in terms of what, before we get into the movie, that you want to share with us?
Only that I'm thankful for this movie because I love a good dumpster fire. Gives us lots to talk about.
Okay. We'll see. We'll see if the rest of you guys agree. This movie has pretty good ratings. Let's at least tee up the non-spoilery stuff because the whole podcast is gonna be spoilery.
Right.
We all saw it separately. Do Wesley, Ben? Do either of you have like a strong opinion on how you would set up this movie for somebody?
No.
Can you be more specific as to what you mean?
I guess
Set it up or something.
as we go into Avengers, why? Like, what is Captain Marvel? Like, why are we watching this?
Oh, I don't know. It, like
Seems
you have
like some
to.
extreme downtime content.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. It's like you have to. I don't know. Just so you're not confused.
I guess the reason to see it is because you're going to watch Infinity War. And you're like, who's this person?
Endgame.
Yeah.
Matt,
That's strong as Thanos.
there was a picture I sent to Wesley. I don't have it on me, but it's Weekend at Bernie's. Only the two guys are Avengers: Infinity War and Endgame, and then Captain Marvel was Bernie.
So we're kind of being very upfront about, I guess, the opinion of the movie. So let's get into it.
Yeah,
so
I've got
Captain
opinions.
Marvel. This is entirely. Yeah, you have strong opinions. This is entirely like, if I were to position this, it is one of the, other than, Black Widow, Scarlet Witch, and all the characters in Black Panther. This is like the female superhero that's joining the Avengers. To your point, she's going to be in the next movie.
The first one, other than the others.
Yeah.
The
But
other two.
she actually has like, well, I guess Scarlet Witch also had a lot of powers, but she has her own. And Ben, we were talking on the way over here what her kind of history and even becoming a Marvel character was. But she's kind of like the Superman character. It seems like
She is part of the Marvelverse. From what I understand, is like there was a different Captain Marvel that was like really a guy. And I think she was like the heroine next to him, called Miss Marvel. But then they changed her to Captain Marvel to whatever. But Miss Marvel, the same character, what her real name is, in the X-Men series, Rogue steals her powers, puts her in a coma, And that's why Rogue has her powers, too. What are you laughing at?
Yeah.
All I could think of is Eastwood talking to an empty chair.
It's Clint Eastwood talking about superheroes. Go ahead. Keep going.
Talking to an empty chair.
Yeah, this is the empty space next to you. If you could zoom out.
Oh, I wish I could.
I can't do that to myself, Mr. President.
But so she has like kind of a
Lore.
Yeah, she has a past, obviously. So to work her in now, especially given the timing of what's happening in the entire MCU, seems, it seems well timed. I guess that she is coming in after the cataclysmic events of Infinity War. But this is
Because reasons.
this movie. So to set it up, and then we'll do spoilers, and to really get into it, is all about introducing her character, who she is. And it kind of follows her up until kind of unleashing her powers. That's basically the whole movie. She meets the kind of secondary main character, Samuel L. Jackson, as young Nick Fury in the 90s. Perfect. I feel about right.
That's perfect.
And it introduced some of kind of like what they did with Solo, where they just kind of worked in Darth Maul at the end. I forget the name of the guy with the hammer from Guardians. Ronan, yeah. They kind of work him in, like shoehorn him in a little bit. Yeah. So it's kind of trying to tie a bunch of threads together. We find out
because he's a krill. Is that what they call him?
Kree. Yeah. We find out a Nick Kroll. Big mouth. We find out a lot. There's a bunch of those little like Solo-esque callbacks to like, oh, why does he, like, kind of explaining things. Why does
they're called Easter eggs.
I should be doing that with my glasses. Yeah, so we find out why Samuel L. Jackson, Nick Fury has a eye patch. We explain kind of the pager. There's a bunch of little things that, the test
like
where the
Solo,
Tesseract
everything
came
important
from.
that happened to Nick Fury happened within a few hours.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. In like a one day span.
So many of us.
Your life trajectory was solved at this one point.
The Protector Initiative.
Yeah, right. Backspace. All right.
Avengers.
Well, Matt, that was pretty good background.
Yeah, let's go ahead and start this movie.
Well, are you ready for this week's trailer trash?
Yes, let's do that.
Okay. I'm a little late to the game on this one, but, well, we didn't do a show last week.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me get this set up.
Oh.
Did you like it? Sorry, that was the whole budget.
That was it. It's just
I kid. Here's the video. Let me
I thought you were serious.
let me take Wesley down. Hold on. Okay, here
I'll
we
take
go.
Wesley
So
down.
if you're listening, you need to go to our page and watch.
Are you ready to watch superheroes quip at each other for the 21st time? I know I am. Roll that beautiful bean footage.
You've come a long way, but you're not as strong as you think.
Is this movie ad campaign too smart to win? And who is Brie Larson?
I do not need a 40-year-old white dude to tell me what didn't work for him about A Wrinkle in Time.
She's certainly a controversial character, and she seems to want Captain Marvel to be a feminist icon. And that's fine. That's all well and good. I'm sure she's a nice person. Oh. Well, there you have it. This is the face of a hero. A face that says... What does this face say? Can anyone tell me what this facial expression is supposed to convey? But what do I know? She worked on this facial expression for months. Also, why is everybody online saying her feet are disgusting? I don't see anything wrong here. Oh.
Boom! Tough actin' Tinactin. Clinically proven Tinactin cures even tough cases of athlete's foot fungus. Get tough actin' Tinactin.
All right, enough of that. Let's talk about how all the bad reviews are being pinned on angry incels.
Meanwhile, at the Legion of Incels.
We have got to put a stop to this. This female. Open those Rotten Tomatoes accounts and vote this movie down!
Dude, I made 30 accounts just for this.
Good. I love a good review bombing almost as much as I love hating women.
Hey, why is there a woman here?
Quiet!
I thought Wonder Woman was pretty good.
When we're done, no woman will ever dare to star in her own film again. Now get to work.
Blaming men for this movie's shortcomings couldn't possibly be any kind of damage control. Everyone learned their lesson from Ghostbusters 2016, right? It's not like, oh, I don't know, Disney forced YouTube to change its search algorithm or anything.
Really makes you think.
No matter what, I hope this movie does well. Why is that, you ask? Because there's hundreds of effects artists working on these movies. For them, it's a volatile industry where you may have a job one day and no job the next. They're the real MVPs on these projects, and they gave it their all. But as for Miss Larson...
It was Tuesday.
Wow, Aaron.
Aaron, that was hilarious.
Another level.
we had some downtime.
What is your follow-up with now sharing that with us?
Well, I'll just say I haven't seen the bar set this low since I went to a dwarf's wedding reception.
Oh my god, that was good.
Don't worry, I'm going to be doing some jokes later.
Oh, good. I'm glad you prepared some of them.
I want to watch it again.
There's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah.
So
tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, having from that, I mean that's the commentary. I think from the outside of, I think you captured several of the angles that I'm sure we're gonna get into. So.
Especially the Tenactin angle.
Yeah, the Tenactin of
the very, very low angle.
Like that'll be the product placement in the next movie. All right, let's actually talk about the movie. So I'm going to give it to Wesley because he's kind of. Where would you start with this, or like if you were gonna talk to somebody who hasn't seen the movie, this is your spoiler warning. If you're listening, we're gonna get into it. Wesley, what is the first thing you would tell somebody who was like, should I go see Captain Marvel?
Captain. Yeah. You want to understand Endgame?
Yeah. I don't even, honestly, you don't really need to. There's nothing concrete in the movie that made it
just read
required viewing, you know? I kept waiting for that connection and it didn't really come. There wasn't really anything that made me be like, oh. I guess
That's
like, okay,
what the pager in Infinity War was for.
What do you think, Ben?
I like turtles.
Okay. The hard-hitting commentary.
Good commentary.
You asked me what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I was honestly telling you.
Yeah. If someone were to ask you, should you go see Captain Marvel, what would you say?
I mean, if you want to.
What is if they were like? Okay, all right.
I have no strong opinion one way or another.
If you don't have to, but if you want,
why? I guess why? What is the lack of enthusiasm about it? Why? What is the reason for that? Why are you guys kind of so meh about it?
It couldn't be anything to do with the fact that this is the 21st Marvel Cinematic Universe movie.
Well,
is that part of it?
It's not for me.
Okay, so Wesley, why? If it's not just like lather, rinse, repeat Marvel, like what about it was so kind of?
No, those are two different statements. It's not because it's the 21st Marvel movie. They've been changing it up lately and doing more exciting things. Ever since I think Doctor Strange kind of changed things up, and then Thor Ragnarok and Black Panther, they're like, okay, we're going to do something a little bit different.
We're going to give Thor a haircut.
Well, they tried with some ideas. The execution wasn't there, and some story details weren't there. Like if we're gonna go spoilers,
yeah,
I like
all spoilers. Yep.
I like the fact that the Skrulls were not really the bad guys. I like that refugee angle of them.
Yeah,
which I guess is not true.
With Ben Mendelsohn, who is perfectly cast as the person to mislead you down the villain path. Yeah. Like that was a good. Even though he was kind of weird in his Skrull makeup,
he was funny. Yeah. And it's funny that he actually
sounds like this.
Yeah,
yeah.
He's got a big tongue.
He has a list.
First order.
He has a list.
They all sounded like that. They all sounded like they had mouthpieces in.
Yeah, they always like. My doctor said I need to keep my retainer in.
Your floor suit.
Well, he was one of the brighter spots because he played a charismatic character, very interesting character.
A little bit, yeah.
And I think that's what whether it's maybe it's just Brie Larson, maybe she's a boring person because she was boring in King Kong too. She wasn't that interesting.
Oh, I didn't think so. I didn't think that was true.
But Gal Gadot has had so much charisma, and her character, even though it was all powerful and unbeatable, was very interesting and flawed, and like there was something vulnerable about her character that we connected to.
Yeah. So not just to bring it back for you, Wesley, like
Good take,
when
man.
you brought up the yeah, absolutely. Like to me, I think what they ended up doing was it actually went down the path of Thor Ragnarok, to your point, Wesley, of like they're trying to shake things up, but now it feels like so like everything is just so homogenized, and they're just taking the same character traits and just reallocating them to where Brie Larson should have been the wisecracking, like give her like this new personality for us to latch as a new character for us to latch onto. And I don't think as an actress it's her fault. Honestly, I like Brie Larson a lot. I think what she was doing was riff, like the moments of like, oh, I kind of like that one little moment, like where she screamed at the scroll she was fighting, just went ah, like that little like weird moment. There's no way that was in the script. That to me, that was her riffing off of something that was not well set up for her. That they instead like gave all the like interesting traits to Samuel L. Jackson to be this like goofball. Like when you think of Thor Ragnarok, we talked about this during that podcast of like everything's jokey jokes all of a sudden for Thor, which wasn't his character before. I felt that way with like I thought Samuel L. Jackson was really funny as
Gosh, Matt. Great moments in riffing history. Hey, I'm walking here, and ah!
Yeah, let's add that to the canon, to the list. But yeah, I mean, I like you went down this path, Wesley, of like they were trying to mix things up. I think in this case they maybe even like kept trying to go down that formula, but it still wasn't super successful. What do you think?
I see what you're saying, but I don't think I agree. I think that they did the exact opposite with her that they should have. It doesn't seem like they knew exactly what they wanted to do with her at all, because she kept snapping back and forth between like being like kind of a prick and then like I'm fun, you know. Like she would condescend you if you were trying to be funny, but then you would say something serious and she'd be like, I got jokes. And I was like, you're kind of a dick. Like the kind of person who like thinks they're the funniest person in the room, but nobody else is. But and I didn't like that moment that you talked about where she screamed at the scroll, because A, it's stolen from another movie, but B, that whole opening, it
wasn't stolen from Hereditary, was it?
No,
most
it's stolen
of the movie
from
felt stolen. Honest.
Brendan Fraser, the Mummy.
Yeah,
our guy.
That's right.
Yeah. But I mean, she stole a lot. She stole the fucking can I swear? I can't remember.
Oh my God, get out!
I would prefer that you didn't. This is a Christian podcast.
What's your problem?
She stole the gun scene, the Indiana Jones gun scene. Like that's not a '90s movie.
Well,
so
but that's
exactly
I guess
fair
that's
use.
I wouldn't say she stole it. Like to be, I'm just gonna blanket statement now because
it was the cat that stole it.
Like I thought the writing, the script, the pacing. My overall complaint is that this movie felt like, just to propel us whichever direction you guys want to take this, my biggest complaint was this movie felt like the first two movies of a Captain Marvel series in one. They tried to put the origin story and then the sequel into one movie. And
agreed, but they also didn't know what the fuck they were doing, because she shouldn't have been that way from the beginning. She should have been like a hardcore soldier in the beginning with no jokes, and then found that later.
And that's what I'm saying, is that the reason everything came out so bland and watered down is because any individual moment or plot thread or character thread, whatever you want, other than Nick Fury, who had been set up in so many other movies, they were making sacrifices because they were trying to like, let's go fast. All of her backstory we're going to do in 1 second flashbacks, and they're all going to be separate and different. We're not going to give anything a chance to breathe, to get to know her, to even show any progression whatsoever. That's kind of where I'm going. It's like
I get what you're saying now, yeah.
And so I don't blame the actors. Honestly, I don't. Like in this case, I thought the writing was really the problem, and really it came from structurally. I wish this movie was an origin story of her figuring out her powers, which we were talking about on the way over here. Like, if there was any emotional connection to her, like realizing she had powers at all, or like how strong she was, like all of her relationships in the movie, even to her friend, to Jude Law, to and then even to her, like kind of what her backstory was, felt all, because they were compressing so much, like the betrayal for Jude Law. So Jude Law is her like mentor in the whatever Space Force, I forget what it's called.
Star Force
is their mentor, and they have this like, they introduce the movie with this like bonding moment of them fighting, and he's her trainer, but then that's it. That's all we get about it. And then it's also telegraphed immediately that he's bad. Like, it's obvious from the very start. And then at the end, we're supposed to feel this emotional weight that she feels betrayed by Jude Law, or feels like she doesn't know what to do. But like, from the movie standpoint, we weren't given anything to like really connect with her, that she would genuinely feel that, because we only got one scene with Jude Law basically between the two of them. And then it's all so rushed through that. And there's a million other things happening in the middle with Samuel L. Jackson coming in. There's this cat coming in. Like, to me, my biggest complaint is that it felt like they tried to cram 2 movies into one, and
maybe 3, honestly.
Maybe even 3. And it had an impact on character, story, like everything we are talking about.
Well,
yeah, I think you're right. I think that now that you say that, because I hadn't thought about that it felt unfocused. It didn't feel like crammed. So now that you say it, yeah, movie 1 should have been building her relationship, going through missions with Jude Law, so that you feel like, wow, this guy's on our side.
With even like the flashbacks to like her in the air, like that was the most interesting part of the movie to me.
I would say like small, tiny flashbacks. That's movie 1. They beat the Skrulls, in a small battle, and you're like, woohoo, we win. And she's a great Kree. Movie 2 is focusing on, who is this person, this woman I keep thinking of, and why does she look like the Supreme Intelligence?
Why does she wear
the mask? Why does the Supreme Intelligence show as her to me?
Yeah,
and then
like that's kind of the mystery.
That's the plot
of
of the second movie.
Yeah.
Is like, it's your Empire Strikes Back of questioning everything you know.
Ben brought up, which I also thought was a good twist, was the kind of Skrull Kree, like turn it on its head,
which isn't really a twist, because the Kree are always bad. Like, they're bad in the comics. They're bad in Guardians of the Galaxy.
So the Skrull, though. The Skrulls are bad in the comic books too.
Yeah, they are. But the Kree are never good guys.
No.
They're always like crazy militarized fascists.
So yes, that part was obvious from the start. That like, yes, they're bad guys. But the Skrull, though, I thought was an interesting take on it, and like what you can explore with that, and what Captain Marvel's relationship with like being sympathetic to that could mean. But to me, following the movie, like it was almost like, oh, checkbox. Like that was a good thing to do at the end, but I didn't follow it throughout the movie. I didn't track the like where they were trying to lead me of like, these are bad guys, but they like, there weren't any like teasers along the way to tell me that like, oh, I'm rethinking how you presented it to me at the start. I don't know. I was kind of disappointed with that too.
That Mark Bernardin guy who does Kevin Smith's podcast, he reviewed the movie by himself, but he had a good point about like emotional, like there was plot points and there's no emotional points, no emotional weights. And I think a lot of Marvel movies fall under this formula where we don't get an emotional weight and an emotional like connection sometimes with the characters.
Absolutely agree.
And
it's usually with the ones that they try to introduce right before a team up movie.
Well, it's true, but I told him that's probably why I like older movies from the 80s and stuff, because that was like,
that's all they could do.
It's predicated on that emotional connection and weight. And one thing that Bernardin said that was really smart is like, set up this character who wants to break the sound barrier,
like has a goal,
who wants to be a fighter pilot and fly these fast planes, but never gets the chance to.
Yeah,
but then,
which again gets the backstory. Like you got to set it up
exactly
like his character.
But then she realizes she has this power, and that that falls when she's falling and she realizes she can fly, but not only
Boom.
fly, but like
Yeah.
fly faster than light. Anything like before all this power, that emotional weight of like, holy crap, like I can do this even more, and I'm a superhero.
Yeah.
Gosh, it
You
says so
know?
much about ourselves.
Well, I'm saying like that weight.
Yeah, it
that
adds
payoff
something,
would be,
though,
be
like-
huge to the audience.
Yeah, totally. Well, like, because to me, the
good
emotional connection you're talking about, and I don't mean to, it feels almost like because there's so few female-led superhero movies, it's almost, I hate to even compare it just to Wonder Woman, but that movie did such a good job of like kind of building us up to the end of the movie of her. I mean, the end was the worst part of her fighting this god or whatever, but it went down this track of her like finding her place and you know, all these other considerations that they really set us up for. Whereas in this, it was just like she has powers, she had them the whole time, and it just was like a button switch with this like green screen room with a net bedding that then all of a sudden she's Superman. And it's like, okay, great. And she knows exactly how to use them in that moment. And just the rapid pace of it that like just
It's-
like things are happening. You like this, right? Like that's kind of the feeling that I got.
Right,
Last
right.
Jedi a little bit with what's her name, the main character.
Ray.
Yeah, it's just like
I don't know if it was Mary. I disagree with that with Ray, but I understand your general point, like
Yeah.
that she just kind of gets.
she
to
never
this.
hones them.
Yeah. Before we can circle back to some more. What were some of the good things about the movie? If
Powers were cool, and that sequence at the end was cool when she's beating up ships and throwing torpedoes, like, and she's doing this and like this to Ronan.
Oh yeah, and like the
Is
kind
it
of
true
the
that
Night
sequence was set to
King,
No
yeah.
Doubt? Someone confirm that for me.
I don't
Yes,
remember.
that did.
Yes, it happened.
I love it.
Wesley's mad.
90s, right?
Cringeworthy, man.
Yeah.
But I like that sequence of how powerful she was.
The end.
That would have been
yeah.
a fine credits song, but not in that scene. Oh.
I liked
So to
her
me,
costume.
I thought
Mohawk,
I thought
I
the
liked
end was good. I didn't like how it was edited, though. I thought it was really too close.
Ooh,
I didn't.
It was
No.
edited and shot super dark and looked like it was on video. It was very weird.
But I did like her general costume. I'm going back and forth on the like, what's the good? I liked
digging,
her.
I'm digging.
I really liked her general
Her
costume.
friend and the daughter were
I
great.
did not like how easy it was to change the color scheme. I thought that was dumb.
No.
I thought that was kind of dumb.
but I like the Mohawk and like
The Mohawk was cool.
I think
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
cool look.
Suit was powered by Windows 10. Come on.
I didn't like how like the girl knew what
Tech
she was
jokes.
doing. Like, you didn't know what you're doing.
Yeah, but you mentioned so Wesley. Sorry, just to circle back. What did you say was a good thing?
The friend and her daughter. I can't remember their names off the top of my head without looking. Monica was the daughter's name, right?
Yeah, I thought they were the strongest part too.
They were
like
them
totally.
and Ben Mendelsohn. Ben Mendelsohn's phenomenal. Like,
Yeah, he was
him
good.
and Science Girl or whatever.
Science Scroll.
That was his name.
My name is
Science Guy. Was it
Scroll.
Science Guy?
the science
right.
guy.
Did
Do you have
Yeah.
a bow tie?
I'm glad you brought up the friend and her daughter. I thought that was the crux of. While I think the movie mostly failed, like it's weird that the conversation is all about trolls and like all these other like the movie didn't like beyond. I actually
It's
was
minuscule. It's exactly what I got in trouble for on Twitter for saying that it would have no effect. I said it would have no effect, and I
like to me
blew up on the Collider website for
And
being
you know what?
dismissive of
Even if
trolls.
there's negative trolling, you know there's positive trolling too.
Oh yeah, but
I
Well,
got screenshots.
I'll
actually.
just say like to me my I guess my overall point is that the movie had little bits of moments. I thought the scenes with the daughter were great. I thought like what that meant in to the emotional connection. Those were the only parts where I felt like she seeing a role model, like that was the part that landed. And then the one line where it was like, I have nothing to prove to you at the very end. That was like one of those like takeaway lines. But
it had nothing to support it. That's the problem.
That's exactly where I was going. Is that like you could put that in like a little GIF and make it a meme with the words on it, and like say
Put that on your
mo-
Twitter and get some retweets.
and the movie embodies like this is what the movie is this moment, but everything preceding that did not build like warrant like the whole like just saying the line doesn't mean that the whole movie embodied what that it signified. And that's I guess for me the biggest disappointment is maybe the missed I don't want to say the missed opportunity, but like they tried to do too much. And it's just with any of the Marvel movies is that like you got too much Marvel in my other movie. Like get out. I don't need all this other Samuel L. Jackson goofy like jokey jokes. Like focus on what makes this movie unique. That and that was my biggest complaint. It's like go down whatever direction you want, even if it's polarizing. I would prefer that.
What if they?
But they made it so milquetoast.
What if they made like combine the story structure and plot thread of Memento? You know, you had
sounds great.
You had this character.
I'm on board.
You had this character doesn't know who their identity is.
Yeah.
So that
and they got to piece it together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where the audience
they tried.
no,
They did it.
You're
They
Superman
with actual like
quarter-assed it.
contextually relevant 90s references rather than just like remember this song.
Stanley,
like that's it.
All rats.
They did it fine with the loading screens and stuff like that. That was cute little moments.
I got kind of sick of it. I got sick of the cute. I got sick of the cute stuff.
There wasn't a lot of baggy
honestly,
jeans.
But if it hadn't taken that long, there'd have been a moment where like, well, they couldn't have just done it that fast. You know, like those little moments where you had to wait. You know, when you were logging onto the internet, you would hit connect and go do something else for a few minutes and come back. That was nice.
Yeah.
What was with the cat?
But
what was with the cat?
There's 10 ways to make this movie.
Are you saying that it was better than Sandra Bullock in the net?
You almost touched on something a minute ago that I thought would have been really profound. It's that,
but it wasn't.
But well, no, you didn't go that direction, or you didn't finish the thought. But it would have been interesting if this movie would have been like dual storylines of her, and the movie should have been her and Jude Law, Von Rig or Von I don't remember what his name was.
Von Traps.
Von Traps, yeah.
Edelweiss.
It should have been them. It should have been their journey, and it should have mirrored her flashbacks to the friend.
Are you saying you wanted some poetry?
Yeah.
It should have mirrored. It should have had moments. They should have had moments that would cause her to have flashbacks because it was such a similar situation.
Slumdog Millionaire.
If you would have used her friendship with the girl, I can't remember her name, the woman.
Her
Air Force.
Her Air Force friend. Yeah.
Yeah, her Air Force friend.
Who was really cool. Yeah.
She's great. They did not do a good job of establishing names of these characters. But if they would have had, a little bit more of that plot line that was an echo of what she was going through with Jude Law, that would have given emotional weight to the Jude Law stuff.
Yeah.
By proxy, and they didn't do that. And instead they had completely irrelevant things, and it would have built her character. It would have shown you what's important to her because it built relationships twice.
Yeah, there's so many different little things. They could have even tied this into the Thanos character for why she's showing up, even of like, the Kree feeling like they got to do things for the sake of everybody, although it's misguided. Like, there's so many different things they could have set up. From
like
a
she's
plot
the counterpoint to Thanos.
Exactly. Yeah, they could have done so much that then makes her involvement in Endgame even more relevant. Like, there's so many things that it just felt like we're gonna do. Like, they almost refuse to even take a risk on doing multiple Captain Marvel movies. Instead, there's
there's gonna be another one.
Well, there will, but they didn't want to risk it before Endgame, which was like. To me, I could have had
the daughter is the next Captain Marvel, so they're already teeing up for that handover.
Yeah. I don't think I needed Thor Ragnarok. I think I needed 2 Captain Marvel movies. Now that I know what the trajectory is, I didn't need. There's nothing in Thor, like I guess maybe plot progression. I don't even remember what happened at the end of it that set up the next movie.
The only thing that Ragnarok did was set up the Hulk being like stuck.
Yeah, which is stupid.
Well, no, it changed the character. I think that
it changed the character because they messed up
a more
before.
Introspective character, which made him interesting.
It was just damage control, man.
Yeah, but then he had no eye patch lost his eye, and he's like, I don't need the hammer, but now I need a hammer.
But now, yeah, exactly.
And
Now I need
my
the axe.
So, like, to me, it's like from a strategic standpoint, is
That's
just
Infinity
like,
War's fault, not Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, but I was saying, like,
it's all one big movie.
Necessary.
Yeah. So anyway, last thing before we get to our ratings, you brought up the cat.
Yeah, what was the cat? Why was it an alien?
Flurkin.
It's a Flurkin, right?
Where'd it come from?
Flurkin. Yeah.
You're just walking around.
Flurkin?
Shield.
Flurkin.
Just walking around. Yeah.
Flurkin.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a
It belonged
nerd
to,
enough to know where it
Marvel.
came from.
It was her pet. Her friend.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. And it had the Tesseract at the end.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
I like the cat
That
stuff.
kind of messes with the lore, doesn't it?
I like the cat.
And it's
It actually doesn't. It fits in.
It fits.
It fits in the cat.
I thought
it fits in the lore.
Annette Bening, the Lawson character, was just like woefully stupid in the movie. Like
how's my hair?
Has there been a more eloquent burn on this show?
I'm being honest.
I called something dog shit once.
She's really
okay. That was more eloquent.
She's a very good actress, and as a movie, like as a character in this movie, she took the brunt of the sacrifices of like trying to speed up stuff.
Oh God.
In the vein of one Frances McDormand, I have something I want to say.
All right, go ahead.
Play
some swell music.
Ms. Larson, if you're watching, I think you're wonderful. Everybody in this podcast has seen you in other movies and thought you were a fine performer. You disappear into poppy roles that are wonderful. I celebrated, and when I found out that you were the person replacing Emily Blunt, I liked her, but she had to go. So I was worried about the casting, and they chose you, and I thought that was great. Nobody told you needed to fucking smile in this movie. Nobody said it. Nobody said Captain Marvel needs to smile. Nobody said, look at Captain America. He smiles all the time. They just wanted you to look like you wanted to fucking be there. And you didn't. You looked so meh. I could be doing something else. Like, you look like that asshole friend who always is too good to be doing what his friends are doing.
Thanks for covering for me, dude.
It has nothing to do with a biker saying, like, you should smile more. It's like, no, if you're a warrior, look like a warrior. Don't look like...
Whoa. They actually said that in this movie?
They did have that line. They did have the line.
It was a reshoot. They added it after the controversy.
Ooh.
It didn't fucking happen.
Oh.
Nobody said it.
That's good. I love
so
that.
when you say I don't blame the actors, I blame that actor for that.
Hold on. Brie Larson.
It was an assumption. It was... Wow, she doesn't look like she wants to be there. So you think she should smile more? It's like, no, I didn't fucking say that. I said she should look like she wants to be there.
So,
which was an analog for her whole entire performance.
Rein him in, man.
Gonna bring the temperature down just a little. I appreciate the perspective.
Get that stick with the hook on it.
Like, there's a lot of, that's a shared sentiment, obviously. Like, the fact that the people, they responded and added a scene, like,
yeah.
To me, my big takeaway from this, I actually default. I guess I disagreed that I default to, and I don't know what the back. Aaron showed a bunch of like little articles and stuff in his video but maybe I'm wrong. But I don't blame anybody for the decisions made in terms of stuff like that. I actually am more frustrated by like the fact that internet comments influence anything. Like, I guess that, like, maybe I'm...
Or
this is like
internet comments.
Yeah, I guess this is like...
to fake ones.
This is like an existential thing about our podcast in general. Like, what is the point of us? But, like, when I hear, like, there's an outburst of, like, we got to shut down the fake accounts doing critics' reviews into Rotten... like, who cares? Like, why are we bothering even caring about any of this stuff? Like, the people who want to take their time... And to your point, Wesley, the movie people who are responding to this stuff, like, just ignore the people who don't care about movies for real. Like, they're the people who are just like...
I've got a conspiracy
It has
theory
nothing to do
you.
with them, for Brie Larson. It's look like you want to be there for the girls you're saying you're doing the movie for.
Well, and I think
not to
she
satisfy
is.
me.
To me,
for
I
the
think
girls who are like, oh, I want a female hero. Then look like you want to be there.
Well,
look like you're having fun.
Well, you can critique her performance, but I wouldn't say that she as a person is like not being there for people. Like I'm not. She's literally showing up to go to the movie and go with like try and get people to go see this movie. Like
I agree. I'm not blaming that on her. I'm blaming the response on her. That it's about her not smiling and turning it into an issue that it isn't.
I mean, that's
her fault.
That'll always, yeah. I mean, that seems to be the new
if
normal for
good,
movies like this.
Because of other people, that's what bothers me.
Matt, the shutting down of comments and all that, it's kind of scary to me because I'm not
shutting
saying,
down is scary, but the misrepresentation of them is also
of course.
scary.
You know, the misrepresentation, I fear, is going to be used as fuel to further stifle things, so that nobody can critique your movie.
We're
to protect the money.
I'm just gonna say we've been going to the 30-minute format. I think we're gonna go well over.
Okay.
So we'll get to our ratings. Like, if you want to just skip to whatever the end of this podcast is, I would like to talk about this. To me, when you talk about the stifling or whatever, like, I mean, I could argue the opposite side, though, of, like, there are the same amount of reviews for Captain Marvel after 2 days as there are for Avengers that came out a year ago that are all seemingly all pushing it down.
People have opinions. Crazy.
But, I mean... But then I guess that's the entire point is like, what is the objective reality of the movie? Like we talked about it together, like what we honestly thought about it. But people who, I mean, theoretically, like what is the percentage of people putting in Rotten Tomatoes critics reviews versus the total amount of people who saw it? Did they actually go see the movie? I guess would be my question.
You can look online. There's a website that has a bunch of the deleted reviews. A lot of them are just genuine reviews that didn't say anything about feminist garbage. They didn't say anything about that. They said, like, I thought her performance was fine, but the movie was really poorly put together, so I really can't recommend it. Guess what? Deleted from the website.
Well, and obviously that's the biggest problem is that people who at least can rationalize like what they're talking about get lumped in altogether.
Right.
And
so
that's
what Aaron is saying is a valid point, is that just anything that comes across that's negative, they're going to say, well, that's obviously a troll, which is a really dangerous place to go down.
And
a scroll.
A scroll.
Review brigading goes in the other direction too. Matt, look at these positive comments. Look at how similar they are.
I can't read. Yeah, no, and that's entirely valid. Is we have created a world where this one website, honestly, let's just be honest. This one website has created this monolith of what is worth seeing, and everybody can influence it in fake or real.
And reviewers can be paid off.
Exactly. And
I don't see why they don't do what other sites do, where it says how many reviews that person has done next to their name.
That would help.
And I mean, this isn't the first time we've talked about Rotten Tomatoes on this show. I mean, I think it's incredibly flawed.
Check out our Rotten Tomatoes cast next week.
I mean, that's a good tease for next week. I mean, I have strong feelings that they're in the bag with Disney properties. Like I've said this before on the show. Like the rating for Captain Marvel. This is the 15th best superhero movie of all time. That is based off of their adjusted Rotten Tomato score. It is the 15th best of any movie, any superhero movie.
And if you disagree, you're wrong.
I mean, I'm not going to say that. It's just like it's. I don't know how to reconcile that based off of what we've talked about here. Like maybe my opinion's different, but it's getting to that point where we're seeing like a divide on very certain types of movies.
Use Metacritic instead.
So.
I love a good, strong female character. I love a good, strong female-led movie. I loved Toni Collette in Hereditary. I loved Annihilation. I liked Wonder Woman a lot. I love it. I didn't love this movie. You didn't make a good one. You didn't make a great one, at least.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with what Brie Larson said or does.
So that's a good segue. Let's go ahead and go around. Let's do our out of 10. What number would you give this rating-wise? and kind of your like quick justification for it.
Okay.
Ben, what would you give it?
5. Maybe a 5.
Okay, that
5.
sounds pretty fair
How
based
come?
on our discussion.
Maybe not how come, but like what's
Better
kind of
powers
the
are cool.
yeah, it's kind of in that like
Yeah.
this is a
She's
superhero movie
Goku.
and they did it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It,
liked
it was
her.
good popcorn affair.
I
you
just
would
liked
say?
her look and her power.
Okay.
Cool powers.
Wesley, do you want to go last?
I'll go. I'll give it a 5 too. I thought there were a lot of great moments in the movie, but as a whole, it just didn't come together for me.
So my system's a little bit different. I would say the number I'm about to say
It's a little more perfect.
Yeah, it's a little more. It's a little more smart.
Accurate.
It was progressive.
I would say so. Just to clarify, I think the number I'm about to give equates to exactly what you guys are saying. So I agreed wholeheartedly. I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna be
Generous?
I'm gonna be generous. I'm gonna be generous. I'm gonna go. It's between 3 or 4. I'm gonna give it a 4. I'm gonna get a 4 out of 10, which basically to me means if somebody like I get it if you're a kid, especially a young girl. Like
If you like stupid stuff.
If you're a young girl and you're stupid, no. If you're a kid, superhero movies are great. Like I'm not going to tell you don't go see it. And if you're like a young girl, especially, like this is an important movie. I understand that.
I think if you're a young girl, see Superman.
Oh.
Yeah.
That would be
It's just a good movie.
So it's not the 15th best.
From what I understand, Matt, on your scale, a 4 means not terrible, but not everybody needs to see it.
Exactly. So my cutoff is a 5. So if it's below a 5, it means to other people I'm telling you, you do not have to see it. You don't need to see it. It doesn't mean it doesn't have value or merits or good scenes or things that are memorable or whatever, but it is flawed to the point that I don't think you need to go out of your way to see it. And that's, I think, and I even said it, I'm being kind of generous. I think this movie was almost one of the more disappointing ones I've seen in a long time.
Worse than Justice League?
No, I went into that knowing full well how bad it would be. This one, I actually thought, given the track record, like, I don't think they hit. There's very few. Like, to me, this is bottom 5 Marvel movie. Like, this is the very lowest end.
Is it above Thor Dark World?
Maybe it's in
not
that it's in that grouping, but it's
above that
it.
in Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
I actually liked
not
Iron Man 2.
It's above
too.
Iron Man 3.
Yeah,
I'll give
I
it
like
that.
Iron Man 3, and I don't like Iron Man 3.
I did not.
Where is my bird?
Yeah.
Where's my bird?
But, I mean, you get the point. It's kind of on the bottom end.
Boyd, where's my bird?
Well, since I didn't see the movie, I will just give my general thoughts on everything. I love that you brought up the emotional impact thing, Matt.
Ben brought it up.
Well, you spoke to it too. Sorry, Ben.
I just can't speak very well these days.
Right. I haven't felt an emotional impact from a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie since Captain America, the first. Even that one was
I'm with you on that, actually.
And I just can't be brought to care. There's no stakes. There's no emotional impact. It's scenes happening, and then people punch each other and are never hurt by it. It's really boring, and I can't believe there's 21 of these movies and that they're the most successful franchise of all time.
Well, and the thing is that and I feel bad for, I know we had a whole long discussion, but again, like, I feel bad for the actors. Like, it's like the 3 archetype Marvel hero main characters. It's like you're one of those 3 and that's it. And maybe you're shuffling between them, but
Gosh,
it's
then you're
like
Hawkeye.
Like you can't
or the Falcon.
Yeah, like
God, I love that guy.
It's all the same kind of like triad moment of like one's the serious, one's the goofy, and one's the like logical, and you're always just kind of shifting between the 3 at any given moment, and it's like everybody's becoming the exact same.
You know what this
thing.
movie is, Matt? This movie is the film equivalent of Soylent Green. All the elements just ground down and put together, and then you eat it for your sustenance.
Which I
consume.
Guess, yeah, I mean, maybe that says something more about us as
not me. I stopped watching them.
You have an embargo. Hit the
button.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm really so just to transition us into the future. Like, I'm actually excited to do. Hopefully, maybe the three of us or whoever. Obviously, not Aaron because he's not embargo on. I'm excited to see what Endgame does because I loved Infinity War. So I'm kind of disappointed in some of these like one-offs to like catch us up to how we got to here. But I'm still excited for it. What do you guys think?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. Especially the new trailer today. It was great. It had stakes. It had emotions.
Yeah. All right.
When?
Mid-April? I think.
Late April.
Pre-purchase your
27th, I
tickets,
think.
slaves.
Late April?
26th or 7th, I think.
Yeah.
We should see it together.
We should.
You want to hold my hand when you watch it?
I'll be there, but I'll be blindfolded.
And
Just going to judge the sound mixing. That's all I'm here for. It's for the Oscars.
I'm only
They
here.
panned it too far to the right.
I'm only here for the theater experience.
All right.
Okay, so next week, in the coming months, there's a bunch of awesome movies coming out.
Godzilla.
like Dumbo. Like, there's a whole bunch. For whatever reason,
This year may not stink.
like this is the blockbuster
Dumbo
season.
looks really good.
Yeah, I'm psyched for
It
that.
looks like a real Tim Burton movie.
That's 2 weeks from now.
Tim Burton movie.
Tim Burton movie.
But before that, next week,
You know that elephant can fly, right? I've be done seen about everything, but
flap them ears.
and I've never seen an elephant fly.
Beautiful.
save that. I hope you bring your sick voice back.
A sick
in 2
voice,
weeks.
right?
In 2 weeks, though, because
Okay.
Dumbo's 2 weeks from now, or maybe even 3 weeks. I think Us is in between. But next week, I'm not even gonna spoil it. We've got an awesome idea that's gonna be like a competition over the course of like
The rest of the year.
literally a calendar year that we've thought about. We've all spent a lot of time. We've got new people coming on. We've got old people coming on. Old guests coming on. It's gonna be
Old
awesome.
people.
It's going to be a firefight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oy.
Oi.
We
Hey, look at that.
we lost
Wesley!
He's gone.
I'm here.
Yeah,
I told you it'd die.
we lost your camera.
His battery's exhausted.
So next week we've got an awesome new thing that we're gonna try out that you absolutely should watch. So tune in next Thursday.
Opiates. We're going to try opiates.
Yeah, we're
Yes.
gonna try
Well, thanks for spoiling
live on air. Yeah,
Does wonders for your throat.
thanks a lot, Wesley. Never come back. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, Wesley. Thanks everybody for listening and watching.
Thank you.
See you next week.
The Captain Marvel abides. The Captain Marvel abides.
Nice.